We have so little money now. Girls about to fall over. I guess. Well, how much... So I don't know what I have to work with. Oh, wow. Interesting background, by the way? What's with the background here? Okay. So I wasn't sure how much freedom I have. I have actually have a lot of options. I've seen a lot of statues in my time. Shoot. This is a choice paralysis kind of thing. I don't know which one to do. I don't know of any statues that I'm like super excited about. Okay, how many pixels do I have to work with here? Quite a lot, actually. A decent number. Cool. But... I didn't think too hard about what I want to do because I just didn't know what I'd have to work with. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna have to think some more. Okay, that took me way too long to find. It didn't take me too long to decide on, but it took me way too long to find. The difficult thing is, it's not how many grays here. It's... I end up not really wanting to use, you know, stone things. Unfortunately, this one does have a lot of dark gray on it still, which will be a problem. Huh. There's a lot of dark gray on it. Darn. How am I gonna do this? I can't make that dark gray, well, darker, because I can... Got this. Still isn't very dark, but kind of passes. I would absolutely not want to use this color. That would be completely wrong. We'll see, I guess. Either way. I was also thinking, these things tend to be really detailed. When you see statue sites, it's a little bit difficult to pull off, I would imagine. Let's see what we can do here. Honestly, we're going to want a slightly smooth curve here at the base. I don't think this one should be too overly complicated. It's a matter of how much I try to kind of texture the thing. As long as I don't go overboard on that, I think we'll be okay. Just so I can see up top. I'm gonna put kind of a line of red up there for a second. Where am I right now? That's where I am, okay. Just trying to get a feel for things on the top screen. Okay. So... it's gonna be fun trying to adapt the proportions here. I might have to rearrange proportions of some parts of this thing. Just for the sake of... maintaining details. I feel like this angle's a pretty good one to be at. Or if anything... kind of like that. It's always a joy freehanding this stuff like crazy. That didn't really accomplish what I wanted. At the very... I guess it kind of worked. It took me such a long time to find a good reference for this thing, though, that I'm trying to draw here. It's all those things, it's just kind of difficult to get a good look at anywhere. Alright, but I think that's okay. Oh, I see. Alright, I have to do a little interpretation of the one reference image I could get. See if we can just kind of mirror what we got here, though. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. 1, 2, 3. The grid is the best thing they added to this drawing engine. Hands down. And there are lots of things that I wish I had in here that I don't, but they're usually things that would be kind of overkill for this kind of game. But the grid is really helpful. Okay. What are we doing on the other side here? About that. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Like that? Okay. Thankfully, we won't have to worry too much about symmetry on this thing, but the base, I need to have it symmetric. Well, I decide to have it symmetric is a better way of phrasing that. Okay, and you... There we go. Okay, so that's part of this thing here. Give this a little round bit here. Even 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. I think that's good. Alright. And this one I'll use a different background color for, in fact. I would obsess. Will I obsess over making this round? I might obsess over making this round. I would like to have this part round. At least somewhat. Ooh, no. I think that's sufficient. Okay, and one last little bit. Oh, how many pixels do I have to work with here? I think we have an even number. Let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay. I think that works. It's awkward having the lines pinched together like that, but I think it works okay. Alright. So we're getting somewhere now. I'd like to have this part be a little organic. So I'm not going to make it totally symmetrical anymore. It's a very organic, homegrown statue. Okay, I might actually want to, well, it should taper off pretty quickly, I feel like, and maybe, even still maybe not this quickly. Start tapering off around here maybe. And get rid of the red already. Don't be under any illusion that I'm doing anything but drawing this thing this episode. So I'm probably not. Kind of. kind of like that. I might be doing it too round. The reference I have is at a slight angle. It is in 3D, but it's at a slight angle. I think this part's... I'd say this part's supposed to be roughly symmetric, although I feel like it looks better if it's not completely symmetric. Okay, you need to... Lines need to get along a little better there. And that kind of works. I was thinking of having maybe a little bit more asymmetric at the top, like lean more one direction, but I think this works. Okay, so if you can believe, we actually have a good chunk of this thing done already, line-wise. Like I was saying, this thing's... Oh, whoops. Not very complicated line-wise. I just forgot an important detail on this thing. Shoot. I have to play with the proportions of this thing more than I anticipated. Whoops. Okay. Feels bad doing this, but... And there's a circle to do here, that's fun. Okay. Working out alright. Oh. That works, so let's get an inside portion on here too. Should be pretty thin. I might just kind of do something kind of like this and then carve out the parts that shouldn't be there. This is having moderate success. Moderate success is a good overview of how my drawings usually go here. Sometimes it leans more in one direction than the other, but... Okay. A little imperfect, but... Aren't we all? Okay. It's a start. Sure, I'll take it. In that case, I will have to do a little modification of the source material here. I think it works fine. Don't know if there's really a way to not have that part messed up the way it is now. Uh-oh. Just kind of trying to not have these lines adjacent, or these pixels adjacent, but I don't think there's a way to make them not be. God, it makes something look straight at an angle like this, but it's what must be done. The question is not if, the question is how. That's much too thick, really. Yeah, when I was talking about how simple this thing was to draw, I was kind of forgetting this part. Which still isn't complicated, it's just tedious to draw. do something like that. I feel like that works. A little awkward looking there, but a little awkward looking is also not too bad for this thing. I don't think I'm going to add too many more onto this thing, just because it would be a pain. So we're not going to have all the detail of the original here, but that's fine. We're already at 15 minutes anyways. I think that's okay. Maybe one more. How did I manage to draw that like perfectly diagonally in one stroke? That was weird. Okay. So now, having done that, we can resume the part that we actually kind of undid a second ago. Come on now. It needs to be more of a point. Okay. Yeah, they're definitely getting some different proportions here than in the original, but so be it. Now... I had to say it, we need to draw another circle. Such is life. Ah! Draw a circle, not erase a circle. Roughly thereabouts. You know what? Just separate these things out as I try to draw this here. And that was really good if I could just move that like 1 pixel to the right. Circles. It's even worse trying to draw a circle all deliberately though, so... Okay, these are really bad now. I drew a couple okay ones earlier, come on. Sure. Just feel like that's a little bit bigger than... Well, I'd say it feels like it's a little bit bigger than it should be, but at the same time, I'm not gonna be able to fit much detail on it otherwise, so... I think it works out. You are very weighted to one side, on the other hand, which bugs me. Alright, so now we can make this thing black, as was the original intention. Alright. No. I don't know if I'm going to be able to add as much detail on this part as I would, jeez, like, however. This part might be a little tough. So I do not have many pixels here anymore to work with, but I think I have enough. Start filling a little bit of stuff in here. It's just hard to be satisfied with this with how little I have to work with. Okay. Does not look very good. It's thicker than it should be. It should be very simple here. I think that works. Okay. It's supposed to be a curve. Absolutely was not. There we go. Alright, so we've got most of the complicated shapes done on here. And I'll have to freehand, or kind of freestyle some of the texture on this thing. I'm not going to religiously imitate the source material on that part. It is funny how different the proportions are on this thing. I probably should. I don't know. So I could change the proportions on this thing just a little bit. Because the bottom and the top are very different proportions right now compared to the original, but I think I'll leave it be. Oh. The one problem I'm having is I feel like this is starting too high. Maybe a pointy tip. I think that's passable. There is one thing. Oh. want to draw this thing. In a straight line for one. That's fairly easy. Yeah, that doesn't really work. I guess I'll make it bigger. There we go. Okay, there's one more annoying roundish thing to make. I don't think it should be as bad as a lot of the others were. I could be wrong. That depends on my own ability to produce it, but I guess that applies to everything here, doesn't it? Doesn't go far out enough. I think that's passable. And we're at the point where I don't want to spend like way more time on this, so making some compromises here. Sorry, I spent half an hour on this. It took me a long time to find this thing to begin with. I don't know how much we're going to see on shading on this thing, to be honest. That's all the actual parts to this thing, though, so let's get some basic coloring going on. So this part should just be black. Wait, I didn't do that right. Here. I have nothing to work with for yellow colors. Whoops. No shading of any sort. This one might have to go unshaded, which is going to make it look way worse than otherwise it would, unfortunately, but I've already spent so much time on this one. I don't have a lot of what I would need to shade anyways, so... Alright, There's a little bit of texture left to be had on this thing. Let's talk to you finally. Let's add that remaining texture. Oh. Try to do a curve, it turns into just a straight angle. And no, that should be the same cyan color. You're very, very, very nearly done. So like the very last thing to do. Yeah, unfortunately not being able to shade this makes it kind of a bright colored mess, which is not in the original, but it was something. I don't know how well it turned out, but it was fun to make an attempt. Maybe just give a little bit of shading on something here. Just have something. Won't have shadows, it just has highlights, which barely even look like highlights. So it's not worth that much, but it's an attempt. Yeah, not a lot of pixels to work with here, unfortunately, for this sort of thing. Not be able to actually put down shadows as opposed to just highlights is pretty painful. That might be all I can do. I wish I was able to tone down the brightness of the body a little bit, but I don't think I can. A bit of shadow on one and highlight on the other, but just a little bit. Not enough for it to necessarily matter, but it's a thought. Okay. It is what it is. Call that a statue. And call that my entire recording session in one video. Whoops. I seriously might have to make like 10-minute episodes for the rest of this. Sorry. Anyways, Jet Set Radio Future. I don't think I drawn anything from there yet, but I had to eventually. I'm making like a list of things I need to eventually draw something from. This is one of those things. Anyways, bye everyone.